Welcome to Flash Editorials for November 2nd, 2012. I am Russell D. Longcore, owner and editor of Nov.2. Flash Editorials is presented by www.dumpdc.com. Dumpdc is the world leader in secessionist thought. We show the world that secession is the only hope for personal liberty and property rights on this planet. Now, this is the first Flash Editorials I've done since May. My schedule changed, happily, and now I can go back to being a smartass on video. So let's go to the news. In the Nation, Part 1. Let's talk about the gross incompetence and breathtaking negligence of Barack Hussein Obama, otherwise known as the president, and this is otherwise known as the Libyan embassy scandal. The Obama camp bitched about Mitt Romney politicizing the tragedy because in the early days of the attack, Romney made negative comments about Obama's handling. Now, it turns out Romney was completely right, but what we've now learned is that Barack Obama is the very person who politicized the murder of 4 Americans in Benghazi. Various reports have verified that the CIA and State Department apparatchiks were watching the embassy in real time from a drone-mounted camera in the sky above the embassy. Now, as the event unfolded, we've learned that there were military assets within 1 hour of Benghazi, including a battalion of Marines, SEAL teams included, and everything. The military requested authority to make the rescue. And get this, the only person who could authorize the request of our military to cross an international border to rescue the ambassador and the others was Barack Hussein Obama. An admiral in the Mediterranean can't do it. The Secretary of Defense, Leon Panetta, can't do it. The Joint Chiefs can't do it. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton can't do it. Only the president. So what did the president do? Did he leave the situation with his national security advisor, Thomas Donilon? No. He dropped the situation into the lap of David Axelrod, his senior political advisor, and went to bed. You see, Barack had a big fundraiser in Las Vegas the next day, and he needed to be rested. And a few hours later, Ambassador Stevens and 3 other Americans were brutally murdered by the Libyan gunmen. And this after Stevens had requested repeatedly more security for the embassy, and the requests were denied. Now, Barack Obama didn't do anything illegal that I know of. He did not commit an impeachable offense. So, people quit talking about impeachment. Just vote the guy out. He simply did not give a shit about 4 Americans in Libya getting murdered. Keeping his job and raising money was and is far more important to this tin pot tyrant than doing the right thing. And what would it have taken? A nod of his head? His signature on a form? A verbal order, go? But he could not be bothered. But let a storm blow up in the East Coast where all those voters live, and you can see photos of Obama in the White House Situation Room making plans to rescue everybody in the Eastern Seaboard. Of course, you know that after all, it's all bullshit because FEMA is going to work just like FEMA does. But that will all occur after the election next Tuesday. And in the Nation Part 2, let's talk about the election. The election is next Tuesday. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Don't vote. For God's sake, don't vote. The voting process has been taken over and usurped entirely. Electronic voting machines are programmed regularly to miscount votes for one candidate or another. You cannot be certain that your vote will count for the candidate you vote for. And in a larger sense, when the people who are actually in power present you with 2 presidential candidates that are nearly the same man, what does it matter which one you vote for? And think about this too. Even if 100 million voters did not vote next week as a protest, there is no minimum number of votes below which an election becomes illegitimate. So if 1 million people voted for Obama and 1 million plus 1 voted for Romney, Romney would take office. So if your vote truly does not count, and it doesn't, and it only gives legitimacy to an illegitimate system, then if you vote, you're part of the problem not part of the solution. In the Nation Part 3, Hurricane Sandy was a godsend for Barack Obama. Just before the storm hit the East Coast, the news was filled with the breaking stories about the Benghazi fiasco. And it looked like Barry was going to have to eat that shit sandwich right up until Election Day. But hooray for Hurricane Sandy. Widespread devastation will help Obama look like a good guy instead of the dim-witted coward that he really is. But let's talk about Sandy for a moment or two. Hurricanes usually need warm water to gain strength. In late October, Weather Underground reports sea temps along the eastern seaboard at less than 65 degrees. Now, hurricanes like sea temps above 75 degrees, and the temperature differential doesn't make a big difference. I'm sorry, the temperature differential does make a big difference. Sandy was a big storm in the Caribbean where sea temps are still at about 85 degrees. So you can see that if Sandy had come north in late August or early September, she might have been a Cat 3 hurricane when she made landfall. Sandy slowed to tropical storm status because of the cooler water and made landfall at high tide in a full moon. So water levels were spectacularly high. Some say the wall of water that came ashore was over 30 feet tall. And just like in New Orleans, Sandy flooded vast, densely populated areas with seawater, which is highly corrosive. One of the biggest issues in Hurricane Katrina was if the wind damaged insured property first, followed by water damage from the flood. It will be the same issue in the Northeast, mark my words. Insurance companies will deny hundreds of thousands of claims because of flood exclusions and then only pay small claims for a few shingles getting blown off. One of the upsides for coastal policyholders is that Sandy was not a named hurricane when she made landfall, so many policies with huge wind deductibles won't trigger. But watch it happen and remember my words. The total of all the damages along the eastern seaboard will be many billions of dollars, but don't worry. Washington has a printing press. They won't run out of money. Some of the insurance companies might, but not D.C. In international news, unemployment in the Eurozone rose in September to a record high of 11.6%, according to a report by the European Commission's Eurostat agency. Spain has the highest numbers in the Eurozone with a jobless rate of 25.8%, followed by Greece with 25.1%. On the other end of the spectrum, or perhaps we should say the northern end of the Eurozone, Austria has a 4.4% jobless rate, which is in essence full employment, and Luxembourg's rate is 5.2%. Friends, it's only a matter of time until the euro currency collapses, just like here in America. They can take us down, and the collapse of the dollar will surely take down the rest of the world. Let's go to business. Just last week, I learned about a new business concept called social commerce. Now, we all know about social networking and how big it's become. The use of websites like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and others has exploded in just a few short years. Remember, Facebook launched in 2004, so in 8 years, it's become the giant it is now with over 1 billion members worldwide. Social commerce is simply gaining access to the vast number of eyes looking at social networks for business purposes. Now, the traditional method of gaining that access is what? It's advertising. But advertising on social networks is not working out as well as expected. Facebook thought they were going to make a killing selling ads to businesses who wanted access to all those eyes. But Facebook's stock price has gone from its IPO high of 38 to today's price around 21 bucks. Turns out that social network users don't like ads any more than they do on TV. I want to see a show of hands. How many of you record TV shows, even sports events, to view later? Okay, how many of you fast forward through the commercials? That's what I thought. You all do. So how can a business take advantage of social networking? Referrals, networking, word of mouth advertising, the most powerful and effective form of advertising in existence. And word of mouth advertising costs nothing. Think about this. You went to a movie you liked and you recommended it to friends. You ate a great meal at a restaurant and you told your friends. That my friends, is word of mouth advertising, and it costs nothing. But let me ask you this. Did the theater or the restaurant pay you any commission when your friends spent money there? Of course they didn't. So how can you harness the power of word of mouth advertising for your business? And an even better question is, you should ask this question of yourself. How can I start a business using social networking and turn it into social commerce? That question leads me to tonight's commercial message. Would you like to learn how you can make all your let me try again. Would you like to learn how you can make all your social networking pay you? Let me introduce you to a new company named Solavei, S-O-L-A-V-E-I. Solavei just launched nationwide on September 21st, 2012. They've created a company that will allow you to refer your friends and relatives at your social networking sites and make money doing it. You don't have to sell anything. Simply post messages and links and let your network look for themselves. If they like what they see and they make a purchase, you get paid. Solavei's first value proposition is this. Now get this. This is amazing. Unlimited talk, text, and data on a 4G nationwide network for $49 a month. No contracts, no credit checks, no deposits. And enrolling, and you can also bring your number and your phone with you and just transfer. And enrolling takes about 5 to 6 minutes online. I changed my iPhone to Solavei, and I was paying like $96 per month, and now I'm paying $49. I saved $46 a month by switching, and I get great service. Now think about this. As far as a business relationship goes, or a business, what you want to find in a business. Cell phone service is a life essential service that nearly every person from age 14 to age 100 has. And they will not voluntarily give up their phone service. What would they do? Go get a landline? That requires credit checks and deposits. So phone bills, like utility bills, will get paid every month, even if other expenses get cut or eliminated altogether. That makes a business recession-proof, doesn't it? I mean, if you know that the service that you're selling to somebody is not ever going to get switched off, isn't that kind of recession-proof? Well, Solavei's business model is this. Refer people you know to Solavei. When those people sign up like you did, you'll receive monthly commissions as long as those new customers remain Solavei customers. To learn more, go to dumpdc.com. That's dumpdc.com, and look for this particular Flash Editorials article. There will be 2 videos on there that are embedded that you can watch. Then sign up today. In the economy, the number of actual initial unemployment claims filed under state programs unadjusted total 342,702 in the week ending October 20th. But the Labor Department said that New Jersey and Washington, D.C. did not submit their weekly numbers because of the storm. All day I've heard the newsreaders only say that the national number was 9,000 less than last week. Big deal. Was there any outrage that 342,000 people this week filed for unemployment, and that at least this amount per week have been filing for unemployment for 3 years? I think you know the answer. Let's see. 350,000 times 24 months is 8.4 million people. That's new unemployment claims. And then the Obama administration crows like a rooster that 114,000 jobs were created last month, and that the unemployment rate is 7.7%. Let's see here. At least 1.3 million new unemployment claims in September, and 114,000 jobs created. Sure, the Obama administration has this under control. He deserves a second term. In sports, in the World Series, the San Francisco Giants mugged the Detroit Tigers in 4 straight games. Now, I'm from Michigan, grew up in Michigan, and we got so disappointed with the Tigers that we stopped calling them the Tigers. We called them the Tigirls. It looks like the Tigirls peaked in the playoffs because they swept the New York Yankees in 4 games. but they had no offense at all in the World Series. Cheer up, Detroit. You were in the World Series back in 1968, and then again this year. So in another 44 years, you can play in the World Series again. In Sports Part 2, the Atlanta Falcons have a 7-0 record in the National Football League. Oh my God. This has never happened in the history of the franchise. Team owner Arthur Blank, the billionaire former owner of Home Depot, can't stop smiling. The team is deep in talent and healthy above all. They could go all the way. And finally, in entertainment, if that wasn't entertaining enough for you, here's a little blurb about the second installment of Atlas Shrugged. I went and watched it last week. It's a very well done motion picture, beautifully shot and well directed. But the events in America in the movie closely parallel what's happening in America today. Crushing federal regulations are forcing some businesses out of business. Now, in the movie, the feds order businesses to continue in business at present pricing of their goods and services and forbid them to close under penalty of law. Then the feds come to the owner of a steel mill, which is one of the main characters, and require him to sell them steel. He refuses to sell steel to them at any price, and they have him arrested and place him on trial. Meanwhile, top leaders in science and industry are disappearing on a regular basis. Yeah, I know how the book ends. I read it. But I'm still looking forward to the third installment of Atlas Shrugged. Well, that's all for tonight. Thanks for watching. I am Russell D. Longcore. For all of us here at Dump DC, which is me, good night and good luck. Dump DC, 6 letters that can change history. Copyright 2012, Russell D. Longcore. Permission to reprint in whole or in part is gladly granted, providing full credit is given. See ya.